In the last episode of All IndyCar, we talked about Rob Wilson, a musician turned racing driver. Today, in the continuation of my series looking at 6 forgotten Indy Racing League drivers, we talk about David Kudrave, an IndyCar driver turned real estate agent. Welcome back to All IndyCar, the motorsports history show looking at the most interesting stories in American open-wheel racing. David Kudrave was born in Los Angeles on March 10, 1966. In his youth, David would attend races at Ontario Motor Speedway, where he grew his love of racing. He began his career in karts at the age of 12, and by 15, he was in the Jim Russell Racing School. David and his family actually lied about his age when signing him up for the racing school, but it didn't really matter as David was at the top of his class, and by the next year, he'd be racing in Formula Fords. By 1985, David was racing in Super Vs, where he'd find a fair bit of success but never win the championship. He was awarded the Most Improved Driver award in 1987 and was even given an endorsement by two-time Le Mans 24 winner Dan Gurney. After this, David would shortly move to the American Racing Series for the next 5 years. 1989 would be David's best season in Indy Lights, as over the course of this season, he got 4 podiums but would never win a race. After 1992, David Kudrave would move to kart part-time with Euro Motorsports. His first IndyCar start would come at Phoenix, where David would put on a decent drive to get his best ever kart finish of 8th. For the 1993 kart season, David Kudrave was sponsored by Andrea Moda, the same Andrea Moda that had been barred from F1 for the chicanery they pulled the year before. Much like Andrea Moda the year before, this season would be pretty terrible. Of the 7 races that David started, he DNF'd 5 times, with 4 of them being gearbox issues. 1994 would be equally bad, as in the 2 races David attempted that year, he would DNQ both times. After that disappointing year, David Kudrave would take a break from racing in 1995, but when the Indy Racing League was founded by Tony George in 1996, David had a new opportunity. Racing for Bill Temporo, David would make his debut at the Walt Disney World Speedway, where he was the first DNF in the history of the IRL, being parked after only 4 laps. The next race at Phoenix would see David's best ever career finish, despite not actually finishing this race either. He wouldn't race at the Indy 500 of the same year, but he would race in the 1996-97 season opener at New Hampshire. Sadly, this race would also end in a DNF, and after this race, he would never attempt an IndyCar race again. David Kudrave's career was officially over at the age of only 31. So like most young racing drivers, David entered the world of real estate, where he rests to this day. The career of David Kudrave is a unique one in racing. He wasn't a great driver, but he was by no means a bad driver either. From his results on track, I could best describe his career as underwhelming. He didn't find too much success in racing, but that's kind of a given because he never had the opportunity to show off his talent. I personally doubt that he would have had a large amount of success as an IndyCar driver, but given the right opportunity, he could have fought for an Indy Lights championship. On the bright side, it is cool looking at David's social media accounts that he's found success in real estate, and even after 25 years, he still loves racing, despite being given a bad hand in motorsports.